Hello, I am Charlotte Langley. I'm the Brand and Communications Director at Bloom and Wild, and I'm lucky enough to be here today celebrating some of the National Emergency Trust charity champs. And we've got one of those champs here with us today, Paul Barfoot, who's the co-chief executive of Forget Me Notes up in Edinburgh. Paul, thanks so much for being here. It's really, really nice to meet you.
Oh, you're really welcome. And it's very humbling to be called a charity champ.
Well, I'm absolutely sure you are one. And it would be great to, tell people a bit about what Forget Me Notes does and what your kind of charity champ activities are.
Great. Well, our charity was set up a few years ago in 2018. And really our whole reason for being is to use music in a way to build community, to combat social isolation, and to encourage self-expression. So we work with a whole range of different people, but a lot of people who may be living with dementia and their carers as well, and older people who are really at risk of isolation.
So you must see, Paul, some amazing reactions. We know how kind of uplifting singing can be, both physically and mentally. And you must have some great stories of having really seen that impact on people.
Yes, well, I have to admit, it is lovely watching every person on the screen in front of me every time we have choir, and just seeing people start to smile, start to laugh and enjoying themselves. It's really wonderful, especially when there are maybe people with dementia and a family member or a carer with them, and just seeing them interact is wonderful, and just enjoying themselves. There was one time when we had a care home join us on the choir, and I wasn't quite sure how it would work with a whole group joining on one screen, and I was just not sure how they would get on with it. But I looked up during a song and saw that 2 or 3 people in that care home had just got up and started dancing while we were singing. And it was just wonderful to see. And I think it had a really big impact on everyone there who was part of the choir, just to see that physical getting up, enjoying themselves, responding to the music in a different way, which was really lovely.
And I hear that your success in kind of making this work virtually even kind of caught you some international attention. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Well, I don't want to put too much on it, but yes, we were approached by a charity in Italy who were working in a similar field, working with people with dementia, using music to help them. And they had somehow got to hear about us and what we were doing. So they asked if they could visit, and they took part in one of our choir sessions, which was just lovely. I think lovely for the people who were part of the choir, just to feel, oh yes, people are interested in what we're doing. And they, as far as I know, have continued to work using a similar kind of setting to use music on Zoom to sing together.
Oh, that's great. So it's you've kind of pioneered something that is working then in across Europe, we hope. So Paul, out of all the music that you sing with people, I'm wondering, are there any particular songs that have a really sort of powerful effect on the sort of collective memory?
It's really interesting. We've sung such a huge range of songs, and actually one of the things that we always do is ask the people who are part of the choir to choose them, so that we are getting songs that mean something to them. But I think as I look back over all the songs we've sung, and I think we've sung songs from every decade, from the 30s through to the 90s probably, but actually songs by the Beatles seem to have been some of the most popular, because they have evoked so many different memories of that whole era.
Well, such a pleasure to speak to you today, and from all of us at Bloom and Wild, and I'm sure the whole country, thank you so much for being a National Emergencies Trust charity champ.